Hi everyone. Yesterday, like in the previous session, we started discussing about that Kubernetes, AKS, its architecture, and a lot of things actually. So we had a detailed investigation on what all components that we have in AKS as well as in Kubernetes. So as we know, Kubernetes is, we can classify it as two mainly. One is like managed Kubernetes and other one is self-hosted Kubernetes. So it's like a lot of things to cover, and we have explained what all components that we have in Kubernetes, what are the different planes that we have. So ideally, yeah, we know, right? We have what mainly, yeah, today we will be discussed on mainly into KTS. So we will be covering, this is our last session on the week 4, and we will be discussing, actually it is not discussing, yeah, we'll be taking hands-on labs on this so that you will be able to understand how an AKS is created, and as well as how we can create a pod and a container. So that will be the outcome of this session. And before jumping into that, as we said now, Kubernetes is something like managing containers and all. It's all about application workloads and all. We need to just recap in 5 minutes. So we said that Kubernetes components are broken down into two parts now. First of all, it is the control plane components, and the other is node components or worker components, we will call. So the control plane components, it will have what? Kube API, which means the API server, right? API server, then control manager, right? Controller, scheduler, then etcd. So we will call controller as kube controller. Okay, a kube prefix will be there for all components. Kube scheduler, like this. Okay, so etcd will be etcd. Only API server we will call kube. There will be a prefix kube. That's it. Okay. Either it's API server or kube API server. That's fine. Okay, that's up to us. And in node components, what we have? We have kubelet in place. We can
Kube Proctor,
yeah, then kube proxy, right?
Kube Proxy,
Kube proxy, and last
run
is
command.
container. Yeah, container runtime. Okay, so I just have a summary on what we had. So yeah, there are a lot of duties associated to this, and it is like, yeah, kube API server is mainly to expose the workloads to external parties, and it will be managing the API that will enable us to access it with the help of kubectl or something like that. etcd is something like a key value like storage that will maintains the state of the cluster. This controller is something like it is oversees all the smaller controllers that will perform replication of ports or other operations which are related to node. And in scheduler, what happens is it will, while creating and scaling, it will decide what nodes needs to run what kind of workloads. So that can be done by scheduler. Kubelet is what? It is a part of node, component or worker plane. So it's basically an agent that processes the orchestration request from the control plane and schedule the request in the pod accordingly or in the node accordingly. Your proxy is something like it will route network traffics as well as the manage IP addresses for sources and ports. Container runtime, yeah, we know, like it's like a platform that will help us to, that helps ports and containers to run, right? Okay, so these are the components that we have now. So I'm just going through a different way. Means now we know that, yeah, these much components that we have. So what I'm going to do is I'll be explaining how, like how that interactions are happening. Okay, because if we have planning to create a container, then what is exactly happening inside that? That's we're gonna discuss today. Let me try to draw something.
Sir, is it the same diagram which you
Yeah,
solved
same
like
diagram, same diagram. No differences, same diagram. I'm just like with the help of
the
this, I'm
control
just
panel
showing.
and the
Yeah,
node?
control plane and the other one.
Okay.
Okay, so I just want to explain it in a flow. Yeah, how the interactions is happening. For that, let me take it. Right. Okay, so Okay, so let's go to the flow. Okay, I'm just explaining the flow. Just try to understand what it is. So here, this is a kubectl. Okay. Okay, this is like some control. Okay, some control that we will be using to create a manifest. Manifest in the sense we need to create a container. Okay, for that we'll be using something. Here we are using kubectl. Okay, kubectl. Or I can, yeah, kubectl. So with the kubectl, what we will be doing is, yeah, this is, let me name things. This is API server. Okay. So there is one resource called deployment. Deployment is there inside this API server. So what happens is when one request is came to here from kubectl to create a deployment. Okay, or we just mention some manifest that mentions, okay, we need to create a container, pod and container. Then it will be like a deployment resource will be available there. Okay, so the flow will be like, first of all, it will create a deployment resource. Then this is the control manager actually. Okay, we can call it as the controller. Okay, we can either mention this is kube controller manager, like this is controller. So what happens is once this deployment is available, deployment resource is available, there is a controller called deployment controller. Okay, this controller will get the data of this deployment. Meanwhile, this data will be stored in etcd. So it is a key value pair. So this configurations will be stored in etcd. And once this deployment controller get, okay, there is one new deployment resource is created. So it is this deployment control is always watching for a deployment resource. So when it seems, okay, one deployment resource is available, this deployment controller will do what? It will create a replica set. Okay, will create a replica set.
Means
So
a copy.
yeah, it will create a replica set.
Okay.
Okay. So once this replica set is created, there is another controller called replica set controller. Okay. Another controller. The controller of the controller component is mainly like overseeing lot of controllers. So replica controller is one of the controllers. And if there is any replica set resource is created in API, then what will happen is it will always batches that and it will do what? It will plan to create a pod. Okay. Because there is one no replica set. Replica set means how many copies or how many, yeah, replicas we need. If replica set is one, only one will create. If it is two, two copies will create, like that. Okay. So then it will see that, okay, how many replica sets are available. For example, replica set is equal to 1. Then Also, it will check that ports are like present or not. So accordingly, it will, this is what, this is queue scheduler, means the scheduler that we have. Okay. The scheduler will check what? It will always, yeah, we have what here? We have kubelet, right? Kubelet here in node. So what happens is this kube scheduler will talk to this kubelet, because kube scheduler is always watching for what? Do we have unbounded resources and or something? If we have some unbounded resources, means there is any vacant ports or containers running like that, then it will always watch for that, and if it is find something like, and it will schedule a target. Okay, accordingly, according to the availability, it will schedule a target. Once that is target, then what will happen? The kubelet, it is an orchestrator, right? That is communicating in between control plane with node. So this kubelet will talk to what? It will calls the CR, the container runtime, as well as the network to create a pod and a container with the proper network. Okay, that is what happening here. So it will do what? It will communicate to container runtime and it will calls container runtime and network to create a pod. Just tell them to okay, create a pod and a container with proper network. Okay, and then what happens is this CRI will call, there are two internal components that you don't need to understand all these steps. This is like the workflow. Okay, if you know the workflow, that is good. You don't need to like understand, like you don't need to by heart every components and every action it is happening, but just to get an idea. Okay, there is one thing called a host control service. Okay, so what will happen is this will create ports. Okay, and there is another service called host network service. Okay, two services actually. And what happens is once that port is created, it will like create an endpoint. Endpoint means we need to connect it, right? So for that part only they will create an endpoint. Okay, it is to establish a connection. Once this endpoint is available, this thing, which means this is queue proxy. Okay, this queue proxy is always watching whether any endpoints are created. If an endpoint is created, queue proxy will do what? It will program and it will allow that load balancing and access controls to the ports. Okay. So this is how the entire workflow is going on.
Okay. So is queue proxy is the one like who will decide like eventually like the containers would
Sorry,
be.
can you repeat once again?
No, I mean the queue proxy, is it the one who would decide after all those stuff in the past, like the queue proxy, is it the one who would decide like now this is the right time to create a container?
Queue proxy, like once that endpoint is created, if an endpoint is in place, then only we can access to the ports. So as we know, queue proxy is mainly managing the traffic, the resource IP, manages IP addresses and all. So once the endpoint is created, endpoint means created, then there will be some IP associated with it. So Once this endpoint is created, kube proxy is always checking whether an endpoint is created. Once it is created, it will like program that load balancing rule and also the access control list and all, and then it will like make that ports visible to those who have access. So they can go through this endpoint so that according to the rules and all that is mentioned in the code proxy, like they can access to the ports.
Okay.
Got it?
Yes, sir.
So it's like a walkthrough or a workflow, how that interactions are happening. So just to understand that how this, so the important thing is Kube scheduler is connecting with kubelet. Okay, that's a important thing. So there may be questions like, okay, which component in a node pod is in connection with the control plane? So it's kubelet because kube scheduler and kubelet is in contact. And
Okay.
yeah, that's the one important thing. And yeah, others like every like we yesterday discussed right now already what all capabilities, what all functionalities it will have like that.
Yes. So, sir, after this kube proxy like sends all the access to the pods, so then the container would start getting, right? Then the
Yeah,
container
the
would
container, see,
created.
once the container kubelet instructs, okay, container runtime, you just create a container and a pod so that with the proper networking and all, then what will do this, like there is one HCS, no, that host service. That service will create a container. Okay, it will create
Okay.
a pod and it will create a container. So the container will be created. Once the endpoint is created, then only we will be able to access.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, which means if we create a VNet and we put a server inside it and we are not allowing any public IP over there, okay, we are not associating any public IP. What we are doing, we are like giving a gem server, right? We are adding another server
Yes.
to access the server, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So similarly, if that gem server or the Bastion host is not there, then we will not be able to communicate the server, correct?
Yes.
But actually the server is available there.
Okay.
Similarly, the ports and containers will be created before that, but as a last step, once endpoint is created, proxy will provide the access through the endpoint according to the rules and access control list, the which
Okay.
users can access and all.
Okay. Got it.
Got it? Perfect.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So yeah, let's then jump into the hands-on session. So did you go through this repo that I have shared yesterday?
Yes, sir. I have seen that.
Yeah, I'm also that attaching this whiteboard
Yeah,
as
you are
well.
keep up. Yeah, you are keep updating in that, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
Yes.
I think it's helping you.
Yeah, definitely, sir. Helping me a lot for getting the codes and all from there. So it's
Mm.
really worthy.
Yeah, it is like yeah, you actually like the candidates or the students need a support from their trainer, then only like they will be able to figure the things out. That's why I'm basically no, I do have a passion training and all. So that's why I'm doing this. So it's like it's not like just covering all concepts, making sure at least something is clear for you.
Yes, it's definitely helpful.
So yeah, let's start with the hands-on. Let me take something for you. Okay, before that, just I want to highlight few things. Means we can create AKS clusters in different ways. Okay. Either we can go with command prompt or we can go with Azure portal. Okay, so both ways we can create. Anyways, we can create with the help of portal for now. But the main thing is we can create deployments. Means we can create containers. Okay, so we will be using a utility called AZ login. Okay, AZ login is something like a CLI, command line interface. Okay, it is called CLI. Okay, command line interface. This command line interface we will be using to log in to our command prompt, and from there we will be starting deploying containers. Okay, so from here we will be able to understand that if we have a kubectl or something, we need to have what, at least a deployment, right? If this deployment is there, then only everything will be coming in, correct? So we need to create a deployment. So once the deployment is created, yeah, we can go with the like creating container. Yeah, we'll walk through those steps. So I'm just mentioning AZ login. AZ login is one of the utility CLI that we will be using. So there are some commands that we need to follow. Yeah, all things I'll be sharing with you. But for now, like I'll be using some commands. Just watch it and understand what are commands that we are using.
Okay. So is there a portal, sir, which includes like node in it?
Um, Actually, AZ login is not a portal. It is similarly like this one. We have on command prompt now.
Oh, okay, like a command prompt. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So CLI means command line interface. Okay. So from
Okay.
here only we will be working. Like we are taking SSH from here now. Similarly, we
Yes.
will be using AZ login. That's it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So for that, actually, we need to install that AZ login. So if you see here, AZ login. So there is one article related to this. Authenticate, sign in with into Azure with Azure CLI. Okay, that is what. See here, you can see now AZ. You can see now AZ account get or AZ account set like that. So there are some commands. It's a CLI that Azure is providing so that we can manage it like this. Also, there is another option. Another option in the sense, yeah, we have another option which is like, see, here we have this. No, this is Cloud Shell. From here also we can use this. Okay, with the help of Cloud Shell, it is similar kind of CLI. We'll be getting this kind of black screen in Cloud Shell. That's also we can use. Okay.
Okay. So Cloud Shell and AZ CLI both the same, right?
Yeah, both we can use. Also, we can use Azure portal as well. So
Okay.
for now, creating Kubernetes cluster, what we will be doing, we'll be creating a Kubernetes cluster with the help of portal. Okay, to understand it better.
Okay.
So I'm going to create a resource. Okay. So here I'll be searching for Kubernetes service. So it will give you the list of, yeah, here we have this AKS Kubernetes cluster. Create AKS. Okay, here I do have one subscription in my this one, and I'll be creating one resource group. Okay, RG Guruschools test 01, or I can put AKS instead. RG Guruschools AKS 01. Okay, this is a cluster detail, which means we can configure different kind of configuration, which means according to the traffic. If we have high traffic and all, we can go with production enterprise or production standard or production economy. Yeah, we do have description along with that as well. But now we are just testing now, so we can use Devops test. It is for mainly for developing or testing kind of thing. Okay. And we can mention AKS schools 01.
Sir, about the resource group, did you just create the random resource group, or?
No, I named it. Actually, I clicked new and I write this name.
Okay, so you created a new one.
Yeah, I'll create a new for better understanding.
But let's say if we already have a resource group.
Yeah, then we can scroll down. There are a lot of resource groups available here. No,
Okay.
We can select it from there. No issues.
Okay.
Like whenever we are creating every resource, they will ask us where we need to create, in which subscription, and in which resource group. So either we can create a new resource group or we can use the existing one. That's fine. That's up to us. I'm just creating a new one because to segregate it in a different manner to better understanding.
Okay.
So Kubernetes cluster name. Yeah, I'm putting UAE node for now. Okay, a location. That's it. And availability zones, we don't need this. If we put availability zone, then it will create copies in different zone. It is for high availability. We don't need this for now. And pricing tier, we have free and different. We only go with free for now because others are like for huge workloads. We don't need to go to that actually. And there is default one. So while we creating Kubernetes version, make sure that we are in a default one. Okay, we will get later versions also. Sorry, yeah, 1.294. This is the latest one, but we will not go with latest one. We will be going with the what default one. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So which means default one means the latest supported one. It will be the most stable one. That's why it is giving us default.
Okay.
Okay. And yeah, that we need to take care. And in terms of upgrade also, here we have one to like for example, if we are selecting 1.2.28.5, then we can upgrade to the other versions. But the only thing is like we need to upgrade incrementally, which means if we are in 1.27.9, we need to go to 1.28.5 and then 0.9. We can't jump in. Okay. Yeah, it's possible to jump in, but it's not recommended. There may be some issues came across when we are jumping in between versions. Okay. We can upgrade one by one. For example, if I am in this 27.7 and I need to upgrade to 28.9, what I want to do is, first of all, I need to upgrade to 27.9, then I need to upgrade to 28.5, then I need to upgrade it to 28.9. That is the best practice. Okay. Keep in mind. Sometimes you may get some questions how that upgrades are working, or you have 127.7 and you need to upgrade the third higher version of that. So how you will do? You will directly do it, or step by step you will do it. So some kind of questions may arise. So the answer is like you don't jump across versions. You need to go incrementally one by one. The very nearest, which one like latest they have, you need to go with that. Okay, like that.
Okay. So you mean like if you have a file with the 1.27.7 version, So in case if you want to update to default one, so we have to go step by step.
Yeah,
I mean, not
one
directly
step,
jump it to.
two step, in third step only we will reach there.
Okay.
And in normal, for example, actually there is one option called automatic upgrade. Okay, so what happens is, yeah, if this is turned on, yeah, it will be automatically handled. We don't need to bother about it. But in real environment, in some companies, in some clients, what happens is they will not encourage us to perform the automatic upgrade because of their internal things, because they may be having some kind of configurations inside which will only work on a certain kind of versions, or maybe prior to the upgrade they need to do something like that. There will be different concerns. So normally we will be turning off it, but according to that client and all, yeah, if it's possible, that's, yeah, the better thing is to enable the automatic upgrade. But if the security compliance is not aligning with that, then we can think about manual upgrade. Okay, so this
Okay.
is the configuration. That's fine. Network node image every Sunday, security channel. Okay, we don't need to think about it. This is let it be by default. And yeah, next. Okay, node pool. Node pool means this part. Node. Okay. We are not concerned about this because it is a managed Kubernetes. We are only concerned about this. So now we are going to configure this node. How much node, how many components, or what all things we need. Here we can see one node pool now. So you can see 2 to 5, which means we can have minimum 2 and maximum 5 nodes. Okay, which
Okay.
means from 2 to 5 VMs. That's how we can call
Okay.
it. Okay. So I will click it and I will just update it. I don't need to, I will put 1 to 3, which means minimum 1 VM I need, maximum 3 VM. Okay. And I can mention in each VM how many ports I can put. It must be a value in between 30 to 250. Yeah, by default it will be 110. So that's fine. Either we need to edit it or not, that's fine. Okay, I'll just put 30. That's actually not a big deal. And we can mention a size as well. The virtual machine size, which means the node pool size. Whether we need to go with a higher one or the, we can choose it from there. When we click it over here, we will get that and we can select it. Okay, which one we need to select? That we can select. That's
Sir, so in the previous one, I mean the node part. So is that node the same as the ports, or is it different?
no. Pod is the smallest unit now. Pod means pod comes inside a node. Means with node is a virtual
Yeah.
machine itself.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay, pod is the smallest component inside that actually.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, got it?
Yes, sir. Got it.
Okay, so I just D4S V3, that is fine. Update. Then I'm just okay checking. Okay, I updated 1 to 3. Okay, so at least it will have one virtual machine till 3. I'm putting but remaining as same as it is. And here no network configuration is there. Just for understanding, there are two options: Azure CNI and Kubernetes. Okay, so which one we need to go, that's up to us. But like if you see here now, if you are using Kubernetes, then the private IP of this what of this Kubernetes cluster will be different. Like see here you can see best for smallest node pods. Each pod is assigned a logically different IP address from the subnet or the simple setup, which means, yeah, we will be configuring some VNets along with this now. So it will take a different address from the subnet. But if it is Azure CNI, it will assign a unique IP. So we will normally go with Azure CNI. By default, it will be like that, but that is a different. This will be taking a IP from different area, but here from the same subnet. That's it.
But sir, this kubenet is the same as we discussed in the diagram, right?
Sorry?
I mean, this kubenet, this is the
No,
same
this
as
is kubenet. Okay, this is kubenet and this is kubelet.
Kubelet. Yeah, both the different.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm using a container registry. It is for, like I told you, we can use this container registry used to store images and all. Like if we have a Docker image or something, we can put it over there so that we can fetch that details and create a container if needed. For now, I have one container registry, so I just selected it. Okay. Even if we don't have this, that's fine. But if we have something like that, then we can push images to that and then we can fetch it from there. I explained it in the last session. So we don't need to think about others. It's also fine. Next. Yeah, regarding this, like monitor workspace, whether we can enable or disable, that's fine. Okay. Here I have one workspace available. That's why I'm just selecting. Otherwise, let it be blank. Even if it is putting blank, that's fine. Okay. Here, infrastructure resource group. Don't change this name at any cost. If we changes, yeah, that's fine. We can change it, but it is recommended to keep it as it is because one resource group will be created and all the resources associated to this cluster will be created inside this. Okay. It is by default. It is recommended by Azure. Got it?
Okay. So all the resources would be inside this name.
Yeah. Let's see how it is coming. Okay. So okay. Just note down the this name, infrastructure group name, MCRG Guruschools, something like that. Okay.
So sir, right now we are just creating a node, right?
We are creating Kubernetes cluster, AKS cluster.
Okay.
So as part of cluster, what we will get? We will get all these things. Control plane will be taken care by Azure, so we don't need to think about it. Currently, we only configuring nodes. Okay. When we say a cluster, the entire thing is a cluster. Like it will have a control plane and node. But here we are only configuring node.
Okay.
Okay, the validation is fine. Let me create it. Yeah, let it create. It will take some time to create. Meanwhile, I'll introduce some commands. So there are some commands that we need to understand mainly. So as we said, no, kubectl, that is one. If we think about the commands, okay, kubectl is one important one. Okay, with this help of this utility, actually we are interacting with the containers and ports. Okay, so there is commands like kubectl. We need to use get, okay, get ports. Then it will list the number of ports. Okay, and if we mention nodes instead of ports, then it will list the number of nodes that we have, which means the number of virtual machines that we have. Or we can mention deployment, which is to list how many deployments we have, deployment resource we have. Okay. And then we can, yeah, these are the like getting the lists are like this. Okay, so kubectl will get ports or nodes, a node or deployment. Okay, also there is something called services. Services is something like all those things created, means deployment and all will be creating, and the IP will be private IP only. Okay, so once the container, the cluster, the container and all things are created, the IP associated with it will be a private IP. So if we need to access it from the outside, then we need to create a service as well. Okay, we will call it as a service. So the purpose of service is like it will expose. Okay, it can expose that service, like that deployment to outside. For example, if we say, okay, export this to port 80, then we can get the details from this port 80. You get that?
Yes, sir.
So
basically, kubelet is just accessing control panel. I mean, just kubelet work is to access the control panel, and through that it would communicate through port, and finally like expose an final port, right?
yeah, like kubectl it's a utility that we'll be using to connect with the API server. So
Okay.
kubectl, with the help of kubectl, we can like get the number of ports, get the list of ports, get the number of VMs that we have, get the number of deployments. Means if it is the deployment is there, then only that every process will start, right? It will check,
Yes.
it will create replica asset, then controller port, then we'll check like that, right? So we need a deployment.
Yes.
So it
Okay.
will deploy deployments, services, and all. So service is something like if we need to expose it to outside, then we can use service. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And there is one other thing. Yeah, meanwhile creating, I'll explain you. Give me a second.
Then, sir, where is this Azure CLI? I mean, comes in.
Yeah. I'll show you. I'll show you.
Okay.
And there is another concept called namespaces. Okay. Namespaces. Namespaces is like, for example, inside a node itself, we can like group. It's a logical grouping. Okay. Which means in a node, we may have different namespaces. Different namespaces in the sense, yeah, we already discussed about this, no? Like there are different environments like development, UAT, production. We already told you, know. So inside a VM, we'll call it as node, no? So inside a node, we can have this design like development UAT prod and all. Okay,
Yes.
these kind of segregations, it's a logical segregation. These kind of segregations can be achieved with the help of namespaces.
Yes. It's a development, different development
Yeah. So
stages.
yeah, by default, the namespace name will be default. Okay, the namespace name will be default. But if we need to create multiple namespaces and all, it's possible. But normally we will not use that in some mission critical stages or application critical things, and then only we will deal with namespaces. Otherwise, like we'll be mainly focusing on default namespaces.
Okay.
Okay. So it's basically a logical separation. You can call it like that. So like segregating the applications according to the environment or something, you can say like that. See whether it is created. It will take some time to create. That's why I'm okay. It's created. Great. So it is created. So I'm just going to that resource.
So the cluster has been created, right?
Yeah, cluster is created. Correct. Cluster is
Okay.
created now. So we have, see, it is running, and the network is this. We have this API server. Okay, that's fine. That's also fine. Everything is fine. And yeah. So see, if we click on namespaces, you will be able to see default, right? Okay, by default, this much namespaces will be created, and we can only use default. Okay, others are related to like not use cube system, like where resources exist and something like that. We don't need to. We don't need to mention anything on like we don't need to deploy anything on this. We'll be using default only. Okay.
Okay.
Cube system others are related to like the basic default settings now.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, it's for
Just a,
like that.
it's just a part of that.
Yeah. If we need to create another resource like namespace, we can create. Okay, but it is not required here.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, and let's say networking. One VNet is created and one subnet is associated with it. We didn't do that, but by default it took. And let's go to the resource groups. See, this is the resource group we created, and see, this is a resource group created by automatically. Right, we created this one, and this is created automatically.
Automatically.
Okay, let's see what all things inside it. We have that VM, which means our node, and there are VNets and all things. So load balancing, everything is there. So the thing is, every resources that is infrastructure which is related to that AKS will be come inside this resource group. That we need to understand. That's it.
So, sir, can we rename that node, or I mean,
No,
it's
we
taken
can't,
automatically?
we can't. See,
Okay.
we can't rename a virtual machine, right?
Yeah.
Then how can we rename a node? We can't.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So this is it. This is how we are creating. Now I will go to what? The main part means how we are interacting it with the help of command line. Okay. So first of all, I said we need to log into Azure account. So for that, we need to use AZ login. Okay. So AZ login, there is one thing that we need to pass use
Sir,
device.
is it a
Sorry.
command prompt?
Yeah, it is command prompt.
Okay.
Okay. AZ login use device code. I just use this because to avoid some prompt. If I put only AC login, it will give us some prompt and it will open a browser automatically. I don't need that. That's why I'm using this. So use device code. This will give us a URL. We need to copy it. And we need to paste it so that it will ask for a code. So code is already here. We need to copy this code and we need to paste it over here. Next. So it will ask us to authenticate, then yeah, we can sign into that. So you can see that, okay, it is opened, okay. Okay, so there are a lot of subscription I have. That's why it is showing like this. Okay. So if we have multiple subscriptions, we need to set the subscription. Okay. If you don't have a different subscription, we don't need to do. But for this, actually, we need to use Azure account set -- subscription. Okay, the subscription name. So I'm using this Azure account set subscription. This is a subscription name for me. I'm just entering it. Okay, so that is connected, and I'm just verifying whether this is a subscription selected. For that, I will use AZ account show. Okay, see, this is the name, so that's fine. Okay, and now I need to set up, like I need to configure something, which means my default resource group is this. I need to configure that actually. What is the resource group name for me? It was, I think, what was that? Okay, RG Guruschools.AKS, right? So I need to set this by default, okay, as a default. For that, what I will do, right? I will do another command, az configure default, okay, group is equal to that group, that resource group. Okay, I'm just setting my resource group as default. Enter. Okay, now it is the default resource group. Okay. Then now, yeah, you can take this thing. Yeah, you will get an option. 1 second. Okay, if you click the AKS here, you will get an option to connect. Okay, if you click connect, you will get the options to, like you can just copy it and paste, so that you will get that idea. Like here, how to set the cluster, like how to use kubectl. Everything is here already. Okay, so if you need any sample commands, you can take it from there. But I am not using that for now. I'm using one by one commands actually. Okay, now I am, by default I am in this one. Okay, now I need to get the credentials of the Kubernetes cluster. Okay, for that, what I need to do is az AKS get credentials. Get credentials.
Credentials about the resource group, right?
Credential, no. Currently we are in the default this resource group. Now we need to collect the credential of that particular cluster.
Okay.
Okay. So what is the cluster name? The cluster name is this. So I will copy that. So name is this one, AKS-Guruschools 01. So I will enter. So we will get a message called merged as current context, which means the credentials are I am able to access. So now I'll be like those details are there in my. This is my home directory. Okay, my current user local directory. So that credentials are stored in my local, so I can access it. Okay, I'm just checking whether my current context here. See, current context they are saying AKS Guruschools.01. So I'm just checking whether it is correct or not. To check, like just confirming that the current context is as expected, I am using kubectl config current context. Okay, this correct now. AKS Guruschools. So that's as expected. So now that's fine. Now I just told we have kubectl get ports, no deployment out. Okay, so we will just run those commands and check whether we have anything over there in place. For that, I'm just taking kubectl get ports. Okay, no resources in the default name. Okay, we don't have nothing, right? Now,
Yeah.
what I will do, kubectl get nodes. Nodes means what? Virtual machine.
Virtual machine. Yeah.
Here I have one virtual machine, right?
Yes.
AKS agent pool 3140 VMSS like that. Okay. VMSS is virtual machine scale set, which is like we can scale up and scale down. In the sense, we can increase the number of VMs and decrease the number of VMs. That's how it is working.
Okay.
Okay. So if you see here, we will have that. Yeah, this is also good now. See, here you have one AKS agent pool, the same name, no?
Yes.
Okay.
We can increase the number of nodes.
Instances,
like
instances, yeah.
Instances.
Similar, like a virtual machine with same configuration. So we can increase the number of virtual machines or 2 degrees. That's why we just selected 1, 2, 3. No, minimum we need one virtual machine. Maximum we need 3. That we can define in that column that we got once while we are creating that AKS cluster. Okay, now that's fine. Then next is, yeah, here what I'm going to do is I'll be creating one Nginx server. You are aware about Nginx now. So this is the command kubectl create deployment, because we need a deployment, right? So I'm creating a deployment. This is the deployment name, okay? And hyphen image. Which image I need to use? Nginx. So this will check in the Docker hub whether we have that Nginx. Then it will pull it from the Docker hub, and then we will be able to take it. Here I mentioned replica is 1. So the idea is deployment name I mentioned and replica, 1 replica. Okay.
So instead, can you also get the YAML file, YAML image file instead?
Yeah, YAML file. I'll pull it. YAML file means you need to know how to create with the help of YAML file, right?
Yeah, but we can pull it, right?
Yeah, YAML file. With the help of YAML file, we can create. Yeah, that I will explain in the next. First of all, we will create it like this. So here what happens, right? There is one registry called example Docker Hub. Okay.
Okay.
Docker Hub is a hub where we have multiple images. Last day we created Docker file, right? With the help of Docker file, we created one image, correct?
Yes, one Nginx and second is like Jenkins.
Yeah, Jenkins. So we can sign into this portal and we can like push our image to this. This is kind of registry hub. Okay, we can upload our images over here.
Okay.
Okay, so it will be available and we can pull it. So if we need to pull this image, Docker pull Nginx will help us.
Okay. So once we pull the image over here, then we can pull it back, right?
Yeah. Once we pushed it over here, then we can pull it easily.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here, Nginx is the official one. Okay. So we don't we are not maintaining it. Nginx is maintaining it. So we are just referring what here image is equal to Nginx. So automatically it will check on the Docker Hub and it will pull it from there.
Okay. So is it gonna take any random Nginx file?
Yeah, if you see here, there will be different versions as well. So tags, there will be different versions. Okay, there are, see, if I mention just Nginx, then it will pull the latest one. If I pull Nginx :stable Perl, then it will pull this.
Okay.
So if I mention Nginx stable bookworm Perl, then it will pull this image. Okay. So there are a lot of versions are available. If we mention that tag along with that, and then it will pull that only.
Okay.
Okay.
No, so let's say for example, I mean, we created a Docker image, right? Earlier we created an Nginx image file, right, in Docker.
Yeah.
So if you wanna pull that image, so what would be the procedure?
Yeah. At that time, what we did, we created one Docker image. But if we need to create it with the help of this, then only we need to run Docker pull Nginx. So it will pull that image, and from there we can like Docker run -d -p. We can mention that image name and then container name. So it will create.
Okay.
Same as the same. Like that's why if Docker build will check what if the image is there or not. Okay, Docker pull will check the image is there or not. If Nginx is not in there, our local directory, then it will fetch it from Docker Hub. That's it.
Okay.
If it is already then it will not go and fetch it already there now.
Yes.
Okay, here I am just creating create deployment my app Nginx. Okay, I'm just mention image name as Nginx and replicas as one. Okay, I'm clicking enter. So I can see deployment apps my Nginx are created. Okay, let me list kubectl get deployments. See, I can see, right? One deployment is already happened.
Yes.
All right. Now we have one deployment and it is running. And let me see kubectl get pods. Yeah, one pod is created now. So in one virtual machine, one pod is created. Okay. This is a container name. Okay, one container is already created. Okay. And
yes,
I'll do one thing. I need to See, I need to expose this now. See, here we need a service to expose. So what I'm using is, I'm going to expose this, okay? So I'm using this expose command, kubectl expose deployment, then deployment name, type as load balancer, port is 80, target port is 80, which means what I'm doing is, I'm not going with the service for now, but what I'm doing with the use of expose command, okay, expose utility, I am exposing a deployment, okay? How I am exposing? I'm exposing use the help of load balancer. So if it is available in public, it will be what kind of a load balancer? It will be a public load balancer. And in the backend, it is listening to port 80, and it will be target port will be 80. So that this thing will be available in the port 80.
But sir, we haven't created any load balancer in this case, right?
Yeah, but see, as part of creating this no one or load balancer is created automatically.
Oh, okay.
We didn't create anything.
Okay.
Okay, so it created a VNet, an IP.
So in general, like, does it always create a load balancer?
Yeah, these much things it will be created automatically. We didn't mention anything.
Okay.
So let me enter it. So see, we use this, but it is seeing as what? Service. Which means if we are exposing a deployment, it will be exposed as a service. Do you got the idea? I didn't mention service or anything over here, but it comes under services. Okay. So if we are exposing a deployment, it will be exposed as a service. That's it. And I need to check kubectl get services. See, this is the load balancer that I have. Okay. And I have a services now. The services name is what? My app Nginx. My app Nginx is there. It's a load balancer. This is the IP. This is the private IP. This is the public IP. Okay. So let's try to access this public IP. Since it is HTTP, I am mentioning it as HTTP. Otherwise, like it will directly go to what? See, we are able to get it right. Nginx, the default page.
So is it a container, sir?
Yeah, it is running in the container.
Okay.
So see, it is running here now. This is what is running. It is a port that we have. Port means, yeah, this thing. It is running. Okay. Got it?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay. So it's like that. Oh, yeah. This is how we will create a container or a pod. Yeah, we will create a pod and a container with the help of command line. And now, actually, this is a default image. Where is it? This is a default, right? We need to create a, what I can say. Yeah, we need to create a custom image, custom website with the Nginx server. Then what I need to do? Okay. First of all, this is where that YAML files comes in. Okay. So what I need to do is, I need to, yeah, I have, I think, yeah, one directory is already there. So I'll create mkdir, make directory, AKS, test. Okay, I'm creating a directory ls. Okay, then what I'm doing is I'll be creating let me AKS test ls. I don't have anything over here. What I'm going to do is I'm creating a YAML file. Okay, deployment dot YAML. Okay, I'm creating a YAML file.
Okay.
Okay, let me take it. Yeah, I'll be sharing that code with you. Okay, so that you can understand it well.
So, sir, while creating a Docker, I mean, in the last session, like we also did the same thing, right? We pasted some code, right, for creating a Docker file. So, was that a YAML file?
YAML file is something related. Yeah, I'll show you that. See, this is one YAML file. Are you able to see it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, there are some components like API versions. API version means the app version. We can mention it. Okay, this is a version 1 of the app. Okay, what it is like, we are creating a deployment, right? The deployment resource we are creating. That's why kind is deployment. Okay, and name is my Nginx app. This will be my name. Okay, app name means the deployment name.
Okay.
And replica, I need 2 copies. That's why I mentioned 2. Here I mentioned what? Okay, that is. I mentioned 1 over there. No, here I will mention 2. Then this is like, what is the app name? Because I need to label it. Like I need to match it actually. So the replicas will match to the application name. So this is the application name, means the deployment name. And then I will add one label called my Nginx app. Okay.
Okay.
And here in specifications, I'm mentioning containers. Okay. In containers here, I'm naming it as Nginx, and the image is what? Nginx latest. Okay. Which means it will check in the Docker Hub and it will fetch it from there. Got it?
Yes, sir.
And I mentioned port as 80. Okay. 80 is the port. So it will be available in the port 80. Now, what I'm doing is I'm using that HTML file. I have one HTML file now, that one website page that we have. 2 pages we have now. Server 1, server 2 we created in the, I think in few labs before. Yeah. So I used that. Okay. I'm using that also. So what here I am using is, I am mounting it. Mounting it means attaching it. Okay. I named, like the name is HTML config, and what I'm doing is mount path, which means in Nginx actually that index file is located here. Nginx HTML. No. So what I'm doing is I'm putting this custom HTML. I'll create a custom HTML file in my directory. Okay. And I'll put it over here. So what happens here? Actually, we have one index file in this path. That's why we are getting this page, correct?
Yes.
We will change this index file with our custom file.
Okay.
Okay. So what I will do is I will create a custom HTML file in my local directory. And then what I will do, I will create this deployment file, deployment YAML. So let me copy it. I'm pasting it over here. Okay. Thank you. So cat for seeing that. Okay, it is already there. Okay.
So
And what
are
I need.
we going to do?
What?
So are we going to do? I mean, this all the time, or I mean, for the sake of just
Yeah.
changing
If we
the.
need to deploy a container, we deploy a pod with the help of a YAML file, we need to create a YAML file in that. Yes, we need to create.
Okay.
Okay. And then what I need to do, I need to create one custom HTML file. So custom. Actually, I do have that in place. cd dot cd test AKS. cd dot cd AKS test. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'll be creating an index.html file. And I will copy that value. Like I do have that value now. Okay, this is the HTML file. I'll copy it and I'll paste it here. So I updated that. Okay. This is an index file that I have in my local directory. Okay. It is not yet transferred to any other place. Okay.
Okay.
Now what I'm doing is, okay, I have that in place. So HTML, yeah, let me check what all files I have. Okay, I have deployment.yaml as well as index.html. Okay. So what I am trying to do is I need to bring this index.html to the Nginx to load this one. Okay, so I need to create like mention this actually. Okay, got it? This is a custom index.html I have. So I need to bring it from here to the Nginx configuration. Okay, that's what I mentioned here. I need to mention that I'll call it as HTML config and I need to put it over here. Okay. And you can see there is one utility called config map. Okay. Means we are mapping some configurations. That's it. So in that configurations map, what we will do is we are configuring. There is another command. Okay. kubectl create config map. Config map is configuration mapping. Configuration mapping's name is custom HTML. Okay. And from file, which file? Index.html. I have index.html over here. Okay. So what it will do is it will map the configurations and the name of the configuration is custom HTML and the file name is index.html. Let me enter it. So that config map is created. Okay. Now see here I already mentioned the name of the config map. Okay, custom HTML. Custom HTML is a config map name.
Okay.
Okay.
So okay.
Yeah.
So basically, for only updating that Nginx page, we are doing this all stuff, right?
Yeah. Actually, if we don't need to update that, we don't need this config map. We only need a deployment file. So it will deploy and we use a service to expose it. That's it. Here what we are doing is we are bringing this in HTML to that configuration. That's why we are using config map. Got it?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, obviously you need to go through this recording twice or thrice to understand it, everything. But yeah, step by step you will be achieving. So it is created. Now then config map is created. No? Now what we'll do, right? We will apply, which means we will start applying the deployment. Okay, so we are going to create a deployment. So we have one deployment.yaml in place. So kubectl apply -f deployment label. This is the command that we need to apply the deployment. Okay. So I will enter. Okay, deployment is created. Okay, Nginx apps is created. Next, what we need to do, we need to expose it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we need to expose it. For that, I'm using another YAML file. Okay, I'm using another YAML file. The YAML file, what it's a kind is service, correct? It is a service, and I'll name it as my Nginx service, and it is load balancer. Application name is my Nginx app, and the port is 80. Same as the command that we used, but it is mentioned in a YAML file. That's it. Because in that command itself, we mentioned all these things. No. Name of the kind of type of load balancer, port is 80, target port is 80, all things we mentioned. No. Like this, we will be mentioning. So I'm copying it. I'll be creating another file called service.yaml. Then copying it, pasting it, and I'm just writing it. Okay, cat. I'm just checking it whether okay, it's updated. Then I need to apply this also. So what I will do, kubectl apply -if what service.yaml. So the service is also created. Okay. Then let me check kubectl get deployments. Now we have what? Two, right? Earlier one deployment in my Nginx, and now we created Nginx apps also. Correct?
Okay.
We mentioned how many replicas?
2 replicas.
2. That's why it is giving 2.
Okay.
And I'll check get. Sorry, kubectl get ports. Here, how many ports we have? Total 3, right?
Yes, sir.
This is the old one, means that default page that we are getting. Which one? This one. Okay.
Okay.
And we have 2 other containers as well. 2 ports.
Okay. So 2 replicas.
Yeah, 2 replicas, exactly. And I want to know the public IP. How I will get that. I need to go to get services.
It should be same as the old one, I guess.
Yeah, get services means how many services it have. This is the old one, Nginx, load balancer, this one. Okay.
Yes.
This is the no one in my Nginx services. Private IP. Okay, this is the public IP.
Okay. The page should be same, but the IP should be different.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
I mean, the page should be same, but the IP should be different.
Let's see what the page is. Okay. Okay, this is the page. This is the default one we created now.
Yes.
This is the default one. I take one custom HTML from my local to that container. Now it is working.
Okay.
So also there is one another command. Here this is services. No, we can mention SVC also. It will give the same. Okay, services or SVC will give us the same.
Okay. So, sir, what about the second IP address which we just created? So,
This one.
is it, yeah? So we just put the first IP address, right? And that page, the server one page appeared.
Yeah, it is why because yeah, here we created a kubectl expose deploy my app nginx. This is the name. My app nginx is a service name. Okay, it is a kind of load balancer which is having this IP, public IP. It is the old one.
Yes.
We created two now.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the first one, first IP that we have. The default one. We didn't configure it anything. We didn't use config map. Only we just created with the help of command prompt.
Okay. No, but I'm saying about the new IP addresses.
Yeah, no IP address. This one, right?
Yeah.
This one because we mentioned one service now. This service we mentioned and we created one service. See here, service is created. My nginx service is created, which means
Okay.
whenever a service is created, that means we are exposing it to the public. So we will get an external IP.
Okay. Let's say if we put this IP address on the page, so what's gonna come?
This IP, no?
Yes.
Yeah, actually I'm using this IP 20.170.69.229. See,
Oh, okay. Okay.
both are different IP. See,
Okay. Both are different.
oh, you thought it is same IP.
Yeah.
No, it's different. See,
Okay.
so this is how like the entire journey is. It's between like a lot of commands. There are like a lot of flows happening. So now you got an idea. Now we need to create a deployment. Then it will start like the deployment is something like a trigger that we can do. Either it is a YAML file or it is using command prompt. That's fine. But command CLI to CLI commands. That's fine. But we need to create a deployment. So it's mandatory.
Yes, sir. But
Yeah,
sir,
with that,
you created all those. I mean, you put all those command in the command prompt itself, right?
yeah.
So
Yeah. Hmm.
was that command prompt in your local machine or in the virtual machine?
Yeah, this is my local machine. We don't need to take
Okay.
any, yeah, that's fine. So the thing is,
Yeah, because for the
uh,
Docker, we used to get into the virtual machine and create Docker,
yeah,
right?
actually, we can run that Docker in my local itself, no issues. But the thing is, when we creating Docker and all, it will install in my system. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So the compute and all, it will consume load. That's why I didn't do it in my local. But here what it is happening is it only like what it is saving actually. It only saving three files, like only three files, maximum some KBs, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We are using kubectl. See, we are using kubectl to access this. So if these all parties in Azure. So it will not take my like any computer storage or something.
No, sir, but in general, are we going to create this even like in the work site? Are we going to create it on the local machine or in the virtual machine?
Actually, see, we are using local machine to create resources in this in AKS. Actually, we
Okay.
are not creating it from like not created it in my system. Docker, what we are doing, we are creating image in our system. Okay, so that image will
Okay.
be stored in our system. If we push it to any repository, Docker Hub or something, then it will be available there. Otherwise, it will be residing in our system. That's why I took a VM and did it over there. So the images will be created in that VM only. Once I delete the VM, it will be gone. If I need to use that image again, then I need to push it to some repositories like Docker Hub or something.
Okay.
Got it? Here, what we are doing is we are just getting the credentials of that AKS. So with the help of that credentials, we can access that cluster. So we can easily manage. We don't need to like download all those all those GBs or MBs or something like that. And you can see when if you go to that Docker recording, you will see that you are able to see that we have two Docker images, which is sizing more than I think 500 MB, which means almost 2 or 3 images. It will consume one more than a GB.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's why I didn't took it in my local system. I hope you got the point.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, in a case we are not downloading anything. We are just getting the access. Like for example, we are using user credentials for Facebook, then we will be accessing with the help of browser, Chrome or Safari or whatever. We are not downloading the exact Facebook, right? Similarly,
yes, sir.
We are getting some kind of token or some type of access from there, and then we are like getting into use that access. That's it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir. So, for the page, sir, I mean, is it okay to leave that Nginx page as it is, or is it recommended to upgrade it all the time by
Now,
putting the HTML
for
file?
example, now we did that. Now, if
Yes.
they are saying, if someone is saying, okay, you need to create a website with this kind of index page. Okay, so what we can do, we can create one Nginx. We can do some HTML code that is required by them, and then we can map with the help of config map now.
Okay, but we should ask them about the HTML file,
Yeah,
right?
before every task, we must clear about the requirement. What's their exact requirement? They are saying, okay, I need a website which gives my portfolio in a page. Okay, that's it. So that what we can do, we can create a HTML. Even if we don't need to go to every coding, we can like go to ChatGPT or Copilot or something and ask, okay, give me some portfolio HTML in one file or something. Then it will give us. We just copy it and we can just put it in you can create a file, paste that content in that, save it, use the config map, then you can deploy it like this, use the help of these YAML files, and then that image will be available over there. Like that website will be available over there. Get it?
Okay, sir. Okay. So we can get the HTML file from
Yes. And you can do the alterations also. There will be some changes, like you can change the wordings or the styles also you can do. Actually, creating HTML page is not our duty. Okay. Our duty is to make it available for all. Deployment strategy.
So you also use the YAML file over here, right?
Yeah, YAML file. Yeah, YAML file we use for what? To create a container. No. Yeah. So that also, like if you go, like it's like a simple task. We have to be more proactive. Like we need to go and search over internet and all. You will definitely get it. There are communities. Okay. Basic YAMLs you will get, and with the help of that, if you need try to do a particular task. Here I did this. You just try to do something else also. While we are creating Docker now, We
Yes,
used
sir.
to create Jenkins as well, right? Try to do
Yes.
Jenkins. Okay.
Okay.
Because we can't cover everything, right? But
Yes, sir.
if we know the way, then we can like explore, right? So just explore. That's what I can recommend.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay. So yeah, I'll be sharing these details along with the recordings. Okay. So yeah, that's it for today. It's bit a lengthy one, but yeah, that it's I think it was a good one, right?
Yes, sir.
You got the idea, right? How that workflow is happening, how it is like what are, yeah, these commands and all that I will share. Definitely I'll share. Along with this whiteboard also I'll share you. Okay.
Okay. Now we definitely need some practice, you know. So
Yeah, definitely you need to practice. Otherwise you will not get. Even if I'm also doing now, I'll also be getting practice. Otherwise I'll be missing something. I'll be getting a raise and lot of things I'll get. Okay.
yes, sir.
Hmm. And I'll
Okay,
give
sir. We'll
you
do some
commands also.
hands-on.
I'll give you some references as well, like some kind of reference PDFs and all that I will put in the group.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, okay, sir.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So let so all the best. Just try it out and make your hands dirty. But that's what I can see.
Okay, sir. We'll do that.